being recorded now. So the first mode is W. And W is used in Python, by the way. It's part of the Python code. What does it do? Writes data to a file. We'll see how W is used in a minute. The next mode is known as R. What do you think R stands for? Let's see if someone could guess. Read, exactly. Reads data from a file. And finally, I have a third mode. And this is known as A. Exactly, Abdulaziz. Appends data to an existing file. Guys, please make a note of these three modes. They are extremely important. Any questions about W, R, and A? They are extremely important. Any questions about these three? No, you create a file by opening a file. I'm going to explain this in a minute. Okay, writing may also, chapter 6, mean overwriting. Okay, Fahad? Writing may also mean overwriting. What does overwriting means? I'm explaining it now. You will find out in a minute what I mean. But appending means writing to an existing file without deleting or overwriting previous data. Yes, exactly. But appending is adding to the existing data. Appending is adding new data to the existing data. They are the same in operation, but different in nature. Write means completely overwrite. No. For example, let's do an example. Let me show you an example. It's better to do an example. Maybe you will understand. So let me share my, what's it called? My Eclipse screen. And I'm going to open a new code. Okay. Now, the following line helps me create a new file named abc.txt. So I will be creating a variable named file1, which the opening of a file process will be stored. Now, file1 is going to be equal to open abc dot txt, comma, write. Open a file and make it writable. The following commands will help me write between brackets. It has to be between quotations because it is a mode. So they have to be between quotations. It's part of the code, part of the syntax. Exactly. Now, the first function we're going to learn about is called write. So I'm going to create a variable and name it. No, I don't even have to create a variable. Forget the variable. Now, file1 dot write. Now, this is the write function here. What does the write function do? It adds data to the file. مهند. File1 dot write. Abdelaziz. Tania. Let's add one more. File1 dot write. Ifat. Yes. What's your question, Yusuf? Because I want to leave a new line between each name. I want to leave a line between each name. If I don't use /n, they will be displayed next to each other. I'll show you the difference in a minute. Okay? All right. Now this is the write command. Okay. Now I've written the data that I wanted. I'm going to add one more comment. After writing data to a file, make sure that you close the file. Failure to close the file will result in output improperly, and output not displayed. Okay, so file one dot close. Okay, now I'm going to save my work and then run the program. Let's see the output. I have no output. Where is the output? Now I'm going to share a different screen. Watch very carefully. Can you see me playing with my Windows Start button? Can you see my Windows Start menu? Okay, now watch what I'm going to type in the search. What was the name of my file? abc.txt. I'm going to type abc.txt. I found the file. Click. Can you see the file in front of you? Can you all see the file? This is the file with the data entered. Now, before I show you the difference between write and append, I'm going to answer Yusuf's question. Why did I put /n? Let me close the file and go back to my program. I'm going to remove /n. Now I'm going to run. And then I'm going to reopen the file. And I want you to watch what's going on. I want you to watch the difference. This is the file. Can you see the difference between why I've used between the difference between using /n and not using /n? Can you see the difference? This is the difference. When I use /n, I wanted to display every name on a separate line. Okay, back to the program. Welcome. Right, the file is closed. Now I'm going to repeat the same process. Now I'm going to show you the difference between write and append. Same text file, write, it's still W. You can use /t, but it will still display them on the same line with a space in between. I'm just going to change the data. Note, I've used 4 different names now. I have used 4 different names. So Will these names be added or will they replace the previous names? Let's see. I'm going to run now. Next, we're going to open the file. What do you see in front of you? Replace. So write mode, if I use the write mode twice, it overwrites. You are writing from start. You are writing from scratch. So the write mode overwrites. The write mode overwrites. The new data has replaced the old data because write mode or the W mode overwrites. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to do something else. Watch. I'm going to replace W with A. And what does A stand for? What does A stands for? A stands for append. Append. Yes. W mode writes and overwrites. Writes and overwrites. Now I've replaced W with A. I want to watch what's going to happen. I'm going to run now. Now, click on the file. What do you see in front of you? Added. So what's the difference between W and A? What's the difference between W and A? W overwrites and A adds. So if I want to add more data to an existing file, it's the append mode that I will be using. So I'm just going to put a comment here. If we use the W, which is the write mode, twice, the current data on file will be replaced by any new data. On the other hand, if the A or append mode is used, then any new data will be appended or added to existing data on file. Did you now get the difference between W and A? Okay, now let me show you something else. Now, file 1 is going to be equal to open abc.txt, comma, R. File1.read. Now I have the read function. I'm going to show you in a minute what read means. But I'm going to close the file first. File1 dot close. Okay, run. Okay, I just need to make a small modification, guys. I'm sorry. Now, on line 27, I'm going to create a variable and name it as file underscore contents and assign file1.read to it. I'm going to close the file. And then I'm going to print file underscore contents. Now I'm going to run the file, watch the output. Can you see the output in front of you? So what did I do here? Let me just replace this. R, remove, red, and maybe display. Now I'm going to show you another read function. We can always see. Let's try. It will just give you the information about the file. Name of the file, it is currently in read mode. Yes. Okay, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to open the file in read mode again. I'm going to assign 4 variables. A equals file1 dot readline. Now, what does readline do? It reads. No, you have to use R. You have to use R. Now I'm going to use a function named readline. What does readline do? Reads file contents line by line. Yes. So since I have 8 lines in my file or 8 names, I'm just going to print the first 4 lines just for us to save some time. And do not forget to close your file. Do not forget to close your file at the end. No, it reads line by line, Mohammed. It reads line by line. To find the specific line, you need to do a search algorithm or a search function. And this is a little complicated for you at this stage. But you can, it's doable with a search function. Now, let's run. Can you all see? This is the output of read line. Note that an empty line is left in between each line. I closed it before the print, but read line should be used before we close. Any questions? No, no, I closed the file before printing. I closed the file before printing. Oh, okay. It doesn't make a difference, but the most important thing you need to do is to remember to close the file. The file must be closed. Yes, we will be talking about this later on. Maybe if, yes, we will talk about this, we will be talking about this later on. Maybe if time allows today, I'll do an example with a loop. Okay, so these are the fundamental file operations. Guys, I've sent you this file in the chat. Please try it. So the file is available in the chat. Please make sure that you download it. The file is available in the chat, this current file. Okay. Yeah, open it and save it to your computer. Now I'm going to show you a different means of entering data. Okay, I'm going to start off with a print statement. Save it to your computer. I've sent it again. Guys, please watch the chat carefully and let's focus on the class. Okay. Okay. Now on line 6, I'm going to ask the user to enter the names of 5 countries. Because there are 5 countries, there will be 5 variables. There will be 5 variables. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5. Okay, I've sent the file onto the WhatsApp group in case you didn't get it in the chat. Next, on line 12, I'm going to open a file named countries.txt. And this file is in write mode. So I will be writing to a file. I've already entered the names of the 5 countries to the variables. Therefore, I will be writing the contents of each variable to the file, and then I'm going to close. So let's see what will be the output at this stage. Okay, let's save, and then let's run. Let's enter the names of 5. Can you all see the output? Can you see the console in front of you? Okay, let's type the names of 5 countries. Country names written to file. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to look for the file named countries.txt. Same thing, the best way of opening the file is to search for it. So I'm just going to search for the file. Can you see the file in front of you? Can you see the open file in front of you? Good. Now let me go back to my code. Now please take a look at the code from lines 21 to 33. I'm going to open the same file again, this time in reading mode. I'm going to read from this file. Next, I'm going to create 5 different variables. One is called line 1, one is called line 2, one is called line 3, one is called line 4, one is called line 5. And to each variable, I'm going to assign a read line statement. I'm going to assign a read line statement. But I have a function here. Let me see if you can still recall this function from chapter 8. It's called rstrip. What does rstrip do? This is from chapter 8. Rstrip. Removes any blank spaces or escape sequences from the right. So basically, removes any spaces or escape sequences from the right. Okay, what am I trying to remove from the right? I'm trying to remove the new line. I'm trying to remove the new line escape sequence. I don't want it. Okay. Next, I'm going to close the file and then I'm going to print every individual line. I want you to note what the output is going to look like. Let me save, and then I'm going to run. Now the names of the countries have been printed in the output. But I'm going to show you something, and I want you to tell me what's the difference. Okay, note, guys, please note the following. The variables from line 1 to line 5 don't have a rstrip method. From line 6 to line 10, the rstrip method still exists. I'm going to run the program. I want one of you to tell me what's the difference. Sorry about that. Trying to be quick. I don't know why it didn't print the other ones, but it should have. Exactly. But another way of doing it is simply now. This is line 6, line 7, line 8, line 9, and line 10. Exactly. So if I don't, the bottom line here, if you look at the output, I'll try and show it to you in a different way now. Now, if I don't use rstrip, this is what the output is going to be like. It's going to display the country name followed by a new line escape sequence. It will leave a blank line empty, then display the next one, leave a blank line empty, display the following one, and so on. This is what's going to happen. However, if I use rstrip, maybe I'll show it to you in a different way. Can you see the difference between not stripping the blank, not stripping the slash n and keeping it? Can you all see the difference? So here I've stripped the blank line from the right. So the blank line has been removed. Can you see the difference between the two cases? Great. Any questions about the read process? Any questions, guys? Okay. Now I'm going to append. Yes, do you have a question, Muhannad? Is this a yes, no questions? Yes, what's your question? Yes. Yes, Dania, there will be a blank line. If we had 4 lines written and 5 lines read. Okay, hold on a second. Let's take a look. We can always try. What do you see in the output, Mohammed? Space. Because there is nothing added after Jordan. So the answer to your question is yes, there will be blank. Okay, great. Now I'm going to use the append mode here. I'm going to use the append mode. I'm going to open the file, again, countries.txt, this time in A mode or in append mode. And I'm going to add more countries. France, Bahrain, Greece, أسيوط, شبين الكوم, شبرا الخيمة, بولاق بكرور. Exactly. Now, let me run the program. Okay, now I'm gonna open the file. What do you see in front of you? Can you all see the file? Can you all see the file in front of you? Can you all see the file? Okay, I'm gonna show you something else now. This time I'm going to use a loop. This time I'm going to use a loop. In this loop, in this program, and I've also used the main function, as you can see. I've used a main function. Now, I've created a variable named outFile, and I'm going to open a file named numbers.txt in write mode. Next, I'm going to have a for loop from 1 to 5. And in the for loop, I'm going to enter a number. And every number I enter is going to be written to the file. But there is something very important that you need to know. Muhannad, what does this mean here? What does this mean? It will be added as a string because all data stored in a file will be of string type. If you write an integer or a float, then you must represent it as a string, like what is shown below in this program. Any questions? Okay. Next, I'm going to close the file. I'm going to create another folder, another variable. I'm going to create another variable named file, and to it, I'm going to open the file numbers.txt in read mode. And I'm going to print every number line by line. I'll talk about this in a minute. I'll talk about this in a minute. Line by line. Now, these are variable names. You can replace out file by X and in file by Y. These are variable names I made up. Now, I'm going to print every number on every line, but look at what I did here. Look at what I did. Okay. Okay, so it's going to read the numbers in the file line by line, but look at what I did. I want to represent the numbers as an integer. I want to represent the number as an integer. To understand the difference, you need to go back to the examples that we did where we can represent strings as integers or integers as strings. If I put anything in between, the brackets of the integer function, it will be represented as an integer, and I can perform mathematical operations. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Then I'm going to close the file, and I'm going to call my main function. Let's run now. I'm going to enter a few numbers. Okay, I'm just going to fix something. Just bear with me. What do you see in the last line? What do you think is the value shown on the last line? It's the sum of the numbers I entered. Okay, I'm going to show you something else. Watch. I remove the integer function. Watch what's going to happen. Now watch what's going to happen. Can you read this error? Can you read what this error states here? What does the error say here? I have to turn it into an integer because I cannot add an integer to a string. I cannot add an integer to a string. This is why we need to turn this into an integer. And this is the same thing I've asked you to do on the quiz, the last quiz that we did on Monday. Try again. Can you see the output now? Did you get the difference, Dania, of why we had to convert this to an integer? Good. You're welcome, Dania. Yes, we may do so, Mohammed. Yes, it's doable. Okay, so this is it for now. Just before you go, guys, before I let the 230 students in, I just want to tell you two things. The first thing is on Saturday from 2 to 4, usually the problem solving session, there will be a makeup class for you from 2 to 4 for Monday. Please make sure you attend. This time attendance is recommended. I won't use the word mandatory, but recommended. The other thing is on Thursday, not tomorrow, but the following Thursday, so a week from tomorrow, we will be having a quiz on chapters 6 and 9. We will be having a quiz on chapters 6 and 9. I will let you know of the time and chapter 9 dictionaries and sets. Yes. And chapter 6 is this chapter, which we will hopefully finish by Wednesday. So we will be having a quiz a week from tomorrow. Chapters 6 and 9. Yes. I will send an announcement. I will let you know of the time next week. Okay, guys, thank you very much for attending. You're welcome, Khaled. 230 students, I will start the class in 5 minutes. Maybe, Mohammed, maybe. I'll send you a message and let you know if I'm in the office. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's good that you're hearing me. Now we're going to continue with files, but before I start the class, I just want to announce two items. The first item is regarding the class on Saturday from 2 to 4. The 1 p.m. section, because of the chemistry lab final, most of the class came in like 45 minutes late. So I didn't get a chance to cover what I covered with you on Monday. So they're kind of one class behind. So I will be making up the class for them on Saturday. If you would like to join, like in case you want to reiterate your understanding, please do so. Most likely it's going to be from 3 to 5. I will send an announcement. So if you want to just reinforce the concepts that you've learned, please feel free to attend on Saturday. The second item is that a week from tomorrow, so that is next Thursday, not tomorrow, but next Thursday, we will be having a quiz on chapters 6 and 9, dictionaries and sets and files. I will announce the timing of the quiz in due time. I will announce the timing of the quiz in due time. Okay, so now let's begin our class and let's talk about adding files to numbers, adding files to numbers. Now, this is my main function, as you can see. This is my main function. And in the main function, I have a variable named sum underscore digits, and it's initialized with 0. Next, I have a variable named outFile, and outFile is going to open a file named numbers.txt. And this file is going to be in write mode. You all recall that write mode basically is going to allow me to write data into the file. I have a loop. The purpose here is to enter 5 numbers and write them to the file numbers.txt. I'm going now. This is the purpose of the loop. Now, inside the loop, I'm going to have a variable named num, and to num, I will be entering an integer. To num, I will be entering an integer. Note the following. All data stored in a file will be of string type. If you write an integer or a float, then you must represent it as a string, like what is shown below in this program. So take a look here at what I did. I'm going to write every integer I enter as a string. What does strnum means? Now, num is an integer, and str is basically the string representation of this integer. This is why I've used the str function. Next, I'm going to close my file. Next, I'm going to close my file. I'm going to run the first part of this file. And I'm going to enter the following numbers. So the data has been written to numbers.txt. Next, I'm going to look for a file. I'm going to go and look for a file. Found it. Can you see the file with the numbers in front of you? Everybody else, can you all see the file? Good. Now I'm going to read from my file. The next step is to read from my file. Yes, Faisal, what's your question? It should show up. Maybe it's not created in the first place. You have to double check your code. Okay. Now, let's read from the file. I've created a variable and I've named it in file. What's the value of in file? It's going to be opening a file named, it's going to be opening the file numbers.txt, this time in read mode. This is my for loop. And I'm going to read the numbers line by line. I'm going to read them line by line. And then I'm going to print the value. Note the following. What am I trying to do on line 21? Can somebody tell me? What am I trying to do on line 21? Return it back to an integer. Exactly, Abdurrahman. Convert the strings to integers. Exactly, Sarah. Okay. What about line 22? What do you think I'm trying to do on line 22? I will be summing up all the numbers in the file. I will be summing up all the numbers in the file. Next, I'm going to close the file, and then I'm going to print the sum of the digits. So let me save now and run. So the data has been written to numbers.txt, then read from the file, and this is the sum of all these numbers. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Now I'm going to show you a new example. Okay. Now I have a file. I have a list here named countries, and I have a few countries into them. Next, I'm going to open a file named nations.txt in write mode. And then I'm going to write this list into my file and then close the file. A very simple application. A very simple application. I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to run the program. Okay, I'm just going to look for the file. And I have my text document. What do you see in front of you? What's written in the file? Nothing. Why? Why do you think nothing was written into the file? It is a list. Thank you, Faisal. It needs to be a string. It needs to be a string. It needs to be a string. So I'm just going to make a small modification to the program. Note that I've changed write to write lines. And the write lines function represents a complete list as a string. Represents a complete list as a string. Now let me run. Did I get any errors or any runtime errors? Did I get any errors? No. Now let me reopen the file. What do you see in front of you? In the form of what? It is the list, but in what form? It's one string, you know, this is all one string. All the list values were concatenated. This is the next example, Abdurrahman. Wait. This is the next example. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. Okay, I'm going to save, and I want you to tell me what's the difference between lines 7, 8, 9, lines 7 to 9, and lines 11 to 13. I want you to tell me what's the difference. Exactly. Thank you, Abdulrahman. What about 11 to 13? Nothing in the output. Let's see the file. Okay, I just need to fix a little thing so that it's more apparent. Just give me a minute. Still not what I want. Just give me a second. And yes. And oops, where did it go? Can you all see the file? Can you see the file in front of you? This is the difference. This is all one string, and this is, or these are the individual items. These are the individual items. Now, let me go back to the code a little bit. I did a small modification because I wanted to make sure that the new list is printed on a new line. So I've simply written a new line or a new line escape sequence to the file before executing the loop. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something else. Okay. Now, I've created an empty list named nations and a variable in file. Actually, I don't need an empty list here. So basically, I've created a variable named in file that will read or open the file nations.txt in read mode. And then I'm going to use a function named readLines. ReadLines will read every line of the file to a list. Then I'm going to close the file. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between how the list looks before we strip from the right and after we strip from the right. Let me show you what the output will look like, and then we will talk about it. Can you see the difference between the list before the loop and the list after the loop? Exactly. What's the difference, Najat? What's the difference? /n. In the original list, every element had /n or a new line appended to it. This is why I had to use a for loop. This is why I had to use a for loop to strip the new line from the value and reassign it back to the index. This is why I had to use the rstrip function to get rid of this /n escape sequence, and then the new value, which is the same value but without the /n, is going to be reassigned to nations of I, the same index. Any questions? Any questions? Anybody else? In a list, you cannot display a new line as a list item. So it will show a /n in a list. You cannot display an exact new line in the list. Otherwise, your list is going to look bizarre. This is why it will show the /n. So /n represents the new line. Okay. Let's do another quick example. Okay, now this is the first part of my program. Can someone tell me what will be the values in the list X list? Which values will be populated? Which values will be populated? The even numbers from 1 to 50. And then those numbers will be added to a file named even1 to 50.txt. But before I continue my program, I want to see what these values will look like in the file. What will the values look like in the file? Oops, I've forgotten to mention, I've forgotten to put the list name. I'm sorry. I should have put the list name. Sorry about that. Let's run again. Aha. Converted from what to what, Abdul Rahman? Integer to str. Now, can I convert an entire list to str? Let's see. I'm doing these examples and I want it's write mode, Abdullah. We've discussed it on Monday. It's the write mode. Write mode. This allows us to write into the file. Okay. You're welcome. That my question was, Can I convert an entire list into a string? The reason why I'm doing these steps and fall into errors is for you to understand it bit by bit. Now I'm going to try and do this. This is the first thing I'm going to try and do. Do you think this will work? Let's see. I have no output. Let me see what my file looks like. Let's see what my file looks like. Wait, Saja, wait, be patient. You're seeing the list here. But what is this list represented as? What is this list represented as? This is a single string, by the way. This is a single string. This is a single string. So we have a lot of work ahead of us to convert it back to a normal list. The first thing I need to do is to get rid of this line. The first thing I need to do is to get rid of this line and replace this line with a loop. Thank you, Faisal. Because this line is going to do nothing for me. It's going to make my life complicated. So read lines is not to be used here. So this is it. So this is it. Every value in the list will be converted to a string and then written into the file. Let's now save, run. No output. Now I want to take a look at the file. Is this more proper for everyone? Is this more proper for everyone? So this is what am I expecting. Now, I want to do some other things with this. I want to do some other things with these values. My file is closed now. Now I'm going to reopen this file, but in read mode. I'm going to reopen this file, but in read mode. Okay, now I've opened the file. Watch what I'm going to do. Do I need to do something here? Can somebody tell me if I need to do something here? Do I need to do something here? Convert what? From string to integer. Thank you. Okay, now this is my program. Now this is my for loop. This is what I'm trying to do here. I've opened the file in read mode, and then for every value in the file, I'm going to count how many values are in the file, then add the integer equivalent of each value to some values, and the square of the integer equivalent to some square values, and then display the values. Display these values. This is what I'm trying to do. Let me see if this is going to be okay for me. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I have completely forgotten this. Thank you very much. Can you all see the results of my program? Okay, let's count how many values. I'm going to open the file now. I'm just going to open the file. How many values I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So the count was correct. Their sum is, what's their sum? There is one easy way to find this out. I'm just going to do this fairly quickly. This is one way to help us check. So the sum was actually 650. So this value is correct. And because this value is correct, then this value is definitely correct. Okay. Any questions? Anything unclear about this example? This is a very important example. Abdullah, do you have any questions? Perfect. Anybody else? Excellent. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something else. Okay, I'm just looking for some not good example to give you. Just give me a second. Okay, just trying to look for a good example, like I'm just going through my notes. Just give me one more minute. Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to show you something now. Can you see the file in front of you? Can you all see the file in front of you? Okay, what does the data look like? What is every element separated by? A comma. What about the monetary amount? What about the monetary amount? The money. What is the first symbol before the cash or the dot? A dollar sign. All right. There is something that I would like to do. Basically, I would like to extract the monetary amount and find the sum and average of these amounts. This is a good thinking problem for you. So I have the file available. And as you can see, every line is represented as a string. Every line is represented as a string. Every line is represented as a string. So what I could do is the following. First of all, just let me save the file. I just want to know where the path is, where they usually save the files. Just give me a second. So it's an Eclipse workspace. So So I just want to save the file into the workspace to make it easier for the program to retrieve the, no, go away, go away. Um, a good example is it's going to require me to do a lot of work. Okay. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this file to my backup. All right. Now I can go back to Eclipse. Right. Now, what was the name of the file? Salaries.txt. Let's see if we can display the contents of the file. Let's take it step by step. So file one is going to be equal to open R. Next, I'm going to create, no, not before I create, file one dot read, and then file underscore contents is going to be equal to file dot read. So I don't think I'm going to need this statement here, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print, it's file one, I'm sorry. I'm going to print file contents. Okay, so I can access the file, as you can see. So the file is accessible. Now, remember what I want to do. I want to extract these values, remove the dollar sign, and simply determine the sum and average of these numbers. But how am I going to extract them? I'm going to have to split the string. Thank you, Abdurrahman. I'm going to have to split the string. So basically, this is what's going to happen. It's a bit of a lengthy process. So, but the good thing is you're going to learn a lot from this program. Okay. Now, I'm just going to print what list one looks like. Okay, just give me a second. I don't know why it's printing list one. Okay. Now, since it's almost time, guys, I will work on this program because, like, I think I have a bit of a lengthy thing to do. So I will work on the program and let you know of the results on Saturday. We will discuss this on Saturday. Thank you so much for coming. Do not forget the quiz on Thursday. I'll send an announcement. And do not forget the, yeah, the makeup class on Saturday from 3 to 5. I will send an announcement for both. Thank you so much for coming and have yourselves a good afternoon. Thank you very much.